We're going to talk about generating referrals today, and we're going to do a deep dive into it. I found a nice little article that talks about generating referrals regardless of what avenue of sales you are in. And for those of you that just heard me say that, I don't want you to get tired head when I say generating referrals, because we've talked about it a lot, and I don't want it to be like mom telling you, you left your shoes down here again, put them in your room. I don't want it to be that mentality because I want to keep it fresh. But I want to talk about generating referrals. And we had talked about this about 3 months ago on a conference call that we had done to kind of get those of you who don't ask for referrals, not to pressure you to do it, but to at least get it in your mind that it's a great way to take that lead that you spent money on to generate, and you had to take your time to go see them. You went and made a sale. You developed that rapport. You went through the presentation. It went all well, and you were able to convert that into a sale. We want to show you how to take that one sale, turn it into 5 more. And so today we're going to talk about generating referrals. And once again, I'll be redundant. If any of you on this call have any expertise, any advice, anything you want to add on, feel free. Hit start you on your line. You're not going to interrupt me. I'll open you up and let you throw whatever you have out there, and we'd love to hear from you. So generating referrals, the line, if you want it bad enough, you'll do what it takes to get the job done. That comes to mind here when we talk about generating referrals, because a lot of times, you know, and I've had conversations, I won't name any names, we've had conversations where you're like, man, I just don't do it. I mean, I make good numbers in terms of sales. I just don't do it. I'm not disciplined enough. Typically, I want to get in and out. I got other people to see. I got other appointments. I got other doors to knock. We just don't do it. And for whatever reason, I had a conversation with a gentleman the other day, and for whatever reason, we just don't do it. But this gentleman told me, hey, look, you know, after you do the telephone interview, sometimes that client's already kind of beat up. They're just, you know, they were on the call for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you want to get out of there. Well, you may want to get out of there, but that client, you don't know if they want you out of there. They may want to sit and talk a little bit longer, and what a great way to have another conversation to talk about referrals. If you've done your job, they love you, you helped them, they may want to help you even more and show you that they appreciate you taking care of them. So, you know, if you've heard, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, have you heard of the ultimate question in sales? The ultimate question in sales is, would you recommend me or us to others? For years, it's been said that a referral is worth 10 to 15 times a cold call or a door knock. Do you have a referral mindset? We ask that question. You know, obviously, it's a tough question to ask sometimes. A lot of us will say no. But you already have a referral mindset if you believe that approaching clients is a safe thing to do instead of a risky thing to do. And the killers, the stone cold killers on the call, and I mean that with love, that just go out and you see them, consistent production after, you know, week after week, month after month. They don't think it's risky to go visit a client. They don't think it's risky to ask for a referral. They may or may not do it, but they don't think it's risky. They think it's safe. I'm here. They invited me. They filled this card out. They requested this information. They view it as a safe thing. Most salespeople believe that asking for a referral is risky for whatever reason, which is why they don't do it. On the other hand, if you can believe that it's a safe thing to do, you can flip that switch, and that's currently limiting the belief that, you know, to become, you know, expansive belief. We're limiting ourselves in terms of, I don't know if this is okay. I just spent 20 minutes with her or him. I don't know if they're okay with this. That's a risky mentality. Go in there and say, look, I had a great conversation. I had a great warm-up with Mr. or Mrs. Jones. They're talking to me here. We're vibing. We have rapport built. And as the process goes along, you know at the end of that conversation if we're on shaky ground or if we're in rapport. We're in a current state of compliance with each other where we get each other. I think it's good. Let's go ahead and ask for referrals. When you believe that it's possible, your awareness is going to take over. When you have a positive mentality that this relationship, this rapport that we've built, this is another opportunity that just presented itself because I did what I needed to do from start to finish here in my presentation, and I made the sale. This is my opportunity. And what we do day to day, there's a massive amount of referral opportunity in front of us, but if you believe it's a risk to ask for a referral, you will not see that opportunity and it's going to pass us by. We've talked about this in nauseam. When you think about all of the people that your clients are connected to or that they could possibly know and they could possibly introduce you to, that's a referral mindset. When you think about, man, I just visited Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you know, she got, you know, this RNA policy or this policy, whatever it may be, they're telling you about their baccarat game or their bingo hall that they hang out in or whatever it is. When you're doing your fact finding, your rapport building, and they're telling you about their hobbies, they're telling you about the things you're talking about, knickknacks on the wall, and you're thinking about, I could potentially have somebody here if they qualify and we're able to get her taken care of. There's a potential here. There's a very good potential for the opportunity for us to present ourselves with some referrals. That's a positive mentality. So asking for referrals, regardless of what you may believe, you can ask for referrals without being pushy or sounding like you're begging or needy. That's one of the biggest things that I hear when I'm talking to new agents about, how to generate more referrals. How do you maximize your dollar? We are in a business of investment and ROI. We're not in a business to spend money and lose money. We're in a business to, I understand I got to spend money on my marketing. I need to see this type of ROI. Well, like I just read off, regardless of what you may believe, you can ask for referrals without being, sounding pushy or like you're begging or needy. The biggest common misconception I see is that when we talk about referrals, a lot of people think, I don't want to beg. I don't want to beg this person for referrals. Who said you had to beg? You've done the legwork by developing a rapport, getting to know that client, taking care of them, and developing a client for life. What makes you begging or sound needy by asking, Mrs. Jones, I've taken care of you today, got you fixed up, very happy to get you approved. Now, with us getting you taken care of today and getting this need covered, do you possibly know anyone else that may not have this need covered that could utilize my help? Do you know of anybody? Do you know 5 people? That's not begging. That's offering assistance and offering your professional opinion and expertise to go help another person that's close to them, that's in their inner circle. That's important. That's not being begging or needy. To do this and not sound like, what we just mentioned, begging or needy, you need to have a value discussion. And Joe Chacho and I talked about this for about 2 weeks, going back and forth about building up some information about referrals. And to discuss this, you want to have a value discussion. To discuss value, you need to have value. You need to have value in the meeting. You need to have value in the process and value in the relationship. By having the value discussion with your clients, you're having them say what the value is that you have brought to them through your relationship. Now, it's hard. Some people struggle with using the term relationship when you literally just met somebody. Understand that, whether you believe it or not, and whether they believe it or not sometimes, you have had a profound impact on an individual when you're able to sit down with them and get them taken care of. Think about it. Think about it. You are talking to somebody. When you make a sale, you are going into a very, very personal place with them. You're talking about, in the beginning, you're doing your warm-up, who they are, what they're about, what are their hobbies, what are they into. That's part of your warm-up a lot of times for some of us. But then you're getting really personal when you're talking about their health. You're talking about their health, their medications, and then really getting personal when you talk about their finances, when you evaluate whether they can afford this or not. Is this something that they can afford? When you talk about, do they have a bank account? Do they use a direct express card? You are on a personal level with that person, whether you believe it or not, in a very, very, very short amount of time. So why wouldn't you ask for referrals? If all goes well, you do what you need to do and you get them taken care of, they're able to qualify, and you develop a client for life. You're already on a personal level. Why would it not be appropriate to ask for referrals? So we want to talk about the value. You bring value to that meeting. Doing this in a conversation will allow them to hear you believe for themselves that you are worthy of their referral business, and they want to give it to you without you having to dig for it. Start the referral conversation with a value discussion. In the meeting, what did you bring to them in a value? What value did you bring them in the meeting? The value of the process and the value of the relationship. I found an article as I've had a couple of people inquire about referrals. We've been working with about 17 new agents over the past 2 weeks, and when they bring up, how do you guys do referrals? Do you have anything on referrals? I've heard referrals are really important, which I love hearing from a new producer. I love hearing it from a current producer. So I found an article as we go through these things. I was reading about this, and this article I'll be brief with. It talks about customer referrals are the most powerful selling and marketing tools available. In fact, the best source of new business is a referral from a satisfied customer. Seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? According to research, 71% of online shoppers read reviews before buying. 71%. Other studies also show that customers also say that referrals are the utmost importance in determining who they buy from and what they buy. I'm going to ask you this question. When you are looking for a service, you're looking for a pool guy, You're looking for somebody to build you a pool. You're looking to go buy a car, or you're looking for whatever. In our purchasing power that we have nowadays with us as an individual, we're looking to make a decent, significant purchase. How often do you talk to a family member or a friend or someone you value their opinion, and you ask them about, hey, you got a guy? Joe and I were joking about this when he was in town this week. Joe's got a guy for everybody, for everything. He's got a deli guy. He's got a car guy. He's got a guy for everything. Do you have, when you have conversations with friends and family, do you have a guy? I got a guy for that. Don't worry about that. You need plumbing? I got a guy. Let me give you his number. Referrals and reviews of an individual are important. Same thing in our business. Mrs. Jones, hey, I'm so excited that we got you taken care of today. If you're replacing something, that what you had before, I'm so glad you and I ran into each other so we could get you taken care of, because what you had before, that was garbage, and say in a different, obviously more articulate and soothing way. But if they were put in some vehicle that was not for them, if it was an expiring term or something, somebody clean sheeted something and told them it was first day coverage when it wasn't, and you were able to get them taken care of, you're able to come in there and develop that rapport and just let them know, hey, look, I'm your guy. Mr. Jones, I'm glad we got you taken care of today. If you know of anybody else that's close to you, that's in your circle, that thinks that they have something, and maybe you probably don't know what they have, but you'd like me to review it with them, or you'd like me to meet with them, there is no better potential sale than a referral. Bottom line, it's the best lead you'll ever run is a referral. So as this article talks about, given the business potential for garnering customer referrals, it's important to know how to get a good word of mouth out to your regulars. Your regulars are people that you see on a day-to-day basis, whether they buy or they don't buy. Your review online, whether you have one right now or not, the perception in the marketplace with you and your clients is important for them to get word of mouth out about you. There's an art to asking for referrals. Do not get me wrong. It's not as easy as just going out and, us flapping our gums and saying things. You got to have a legitimate care for the client. You got to care about the people you're talking to. You got to treat them like grandma and grandpa, mom and dad. You got to have a legitimate care about them and show them, as you went through the entire process to get them taken care of, you got to show them. You got to take care of them first, I guess, is my main point. You take care of them, you'll earn that referral business, but you have to ask that question. So one point that they make here is how to get a referral. Satisfy the customers so that they make referrals. The first rule of generating customer referrals is quite basic. Make your customer happy. A lot of you, if I open your lines up right now, you can tell me point blank that you see some grumpy people. There's grumpy people all in the world that we live in. But whether you believe it or not, a lot of times when you finish up your presentation, when you get that approval right then and there in the home, man, just got done, Royal Neighbors Accept, day one, you are covered, Mrs. Jones. They're happy. It's a need. It's an 800-pound gorilla off of their back. You've done a great job getting them taken care of. You have made them happy. The very first thing you have to do is provide a great product and service. We are in a business of service. You've heard many people talk about that. David Lloyd comes to mind first and foremost, and he talks about that all the time. You shouldn't be trying to get customers who aren't happy with you to give you referrals. If you have someone who's a little disgruntled because you've been on a phone call too long, or you've been back and forth bantering about health, or the conversation's just not going the way it should, maybe not a happy person. Probably maybe not somebody that's gonna give you referrals. But what hurts? What hurts to ask the question? The worst thing you can get told is no. Encouraging referrals begins with your very first contact and continues through the entire selling and servicing process. Jeff Toole, who is the president and CEO of Prime Resource Group, a strategy consulting group that advises companies large and small, he recommends that you ask yourself the following questions. Are your customers enjoying your interaction? Do they feel that they are being listened to and that you understand what their problem is? A lot of time with what we're doing, we're educating. A lot of people we see for the first time, we're educating. We're spending a lot of our time developing rapport, and we're trying to educate. So that vibe may not come until closer to the middle or end of that conversation, that presentation. But the other point that he makes is, do they believe that they are receiving competent guidance? The phrase, fake it until you make it, will only get you so far. You have to be an educated, up-to-speed, professional at what you do to give competent guidance? Are they comfortable that the product or service that you're providing them and offering them is going to actually meet their requirements? They may have had an uneasy feeling when this agent came in before. If you're meeting with somebody that has a policy and you're telling them, Mr. Jones, I'd love to take a look at it, make sure you got the best thing out there so it's the best fit for you. And when you review it, and you're able to regurgitate and you're able to disseminate the information to them that tells them that this is not a good vehicle for them or how you can help them. Not to trash a competitor, not to speak down on a competitor or anything like that, but more importantly, to educate them and show them that you are a professional. Mrs. Jones, this is actually a term policy. Number one, you're paying a little bit higher premium, and this is not guaranteed. When you pass away, if you pass away, in the near future, you've got 5 years left on this term. If you pass away within the 5 years, you should be okay. But your premium here, the face amount here, if you outlive this 5 years, it's not going to be there. If you're looking to get your burial covered based off of our conversation a moment ago, let's get you something guaranteed. Let's get you something that's going to be there from day one, from the day you purchase till the day you pass away. Show that you're a professional and show them the value and the service that you're going to provide for them. Keep in mind the importance of the word mouth as you focus on making the buying process effective and enjoyable before, during, and even after the sale. All of the questions are within your control and should be guiding your conversation. Make sure you understand expectations in great detail and follow up after the sale to ensure that the customers are seeing the results that they should expect. Having visitors in town this week talking about follow-up, leave behinds and stuff like that. Some people are big about leave behinds. Like Joe was talking about, he used to have a coffee cup, he'd have a mug, or he'd have calendars that he'd leave the client. Some people are just and I'm not either way on it, for it or against it on leave behinds. But leaving something for that client to remember you, leaving a mark, whether it be a conversation, an impression, you want to make sure that they do recall you, they do recall the conversation, you make an impression on them that will be lasting. So whether it's a leave behind, a business card with all of your information, and on the back you write the policy information, the carrier that they picked up, the amount, the face amount, and then what their monthly premium is. However you do it, make sure that there's something that they remember at the end of the day. Hey, I had so-and-so come by, and that's my insurance man, that's my insurance woman. She takes care of me. The other thing is to ask when to ask for the referral. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but there is a right time and a wrong time to ask for the referral. And if your business is one where a customer can quickly see the benefit of what they've bought from you, then you should ask for referral soon after the purchase, when they're still excited about the product. One thing that I see is a lot of times we struggle with referral generating after the sale was made, but not immediately after. We wait a week, and then we contact. Who does that? How many times has that ever worked out? In our business particularly, we want to ask right as this article talks about when the emotion is still there. The jovial attitude of you just being taken care of and approved is there. It's one of the beautiful things about working with a carrier that gives an instant decision right then and there. The emotion is high. The satisfaction is there that they are covered. That's a great time to ask for it. Due to advancements in technology, there are ways to ask for customer referrals beyond face-to-face or even telephone conversations. Our clients don't necessarily all have an email address. We have found through statistical analysis that quite a few actually have an email address that they use on their smartphone. Maybe not a computer, but those that have an email address they use on their smartphone. So that's a great way to ask. Hey, I can send you some information via email. That's an option. Not saying that is one of the most effective options, but that is an option that's come up quite a bit lately. In today's world, if you have a web presence, you can ask for more referrals. You can ask people. So one thing that I've noticed is we've got quite a few people right now that are saying, do you actually have an email address? I can send you some information, keep you up to date on some things, and if you ever have any questions, you can send me a quick message. Some like to say, hey, you can send me a text message. My phone number's on that card. That's my cell number. You can call me, text me, email me, whatever you want to do. And they'll find that information out to keep that line of communication open instead of always having the phone call, which is always an option, but instead of the phone just being an option, we live in a more tech-savvy world. So if you have an email, we can talk about that. You can also send me a text message. Everything comes this crazy little black box right here called my phone. Puts their mind at ease. The next way to generate referrals is the right and wrong way to ask for a referral. And I won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but one of the quotes in the article talks about one of the most important conversations we can have is the referral conversation, but most salespeople pay little attention to it and miss the valuable opportunities. If they ask for a referral, they most often simply ask for a name. Do you know of anyone else who would be interested in this or could use the solution? Or worse, do you know anyone else thinking of buying something like this? I have 100% confidence that all of you on this call right now and a lot of you that we work with don't just get that blunt with it and you're not that plain Jane with it. Do you know of anyone else thinking about buying something like this? I think you would be able to clean it up a little bit better. Both of these requests are demanding. When you ask for referrals in this way, you're asking the customer to speculate about another person and their situation and their level of interest and predict whether that individual will want to buy from you. We don't think we're asking for all of the information, but we are. And that doesn't encourage referrals. If the customer doesn't do all three of those successfully, it will fail at providing successful referral, and no one wants to fail. The proof is in the response to the request, which frequently sounds something like, not off the top of my head, but if I think of anyone, I can let you know. If you make a poorly defined, unrealistic request, one of the carriers, one that carries a high risk of failure, you shouldn't expect much more than that type of response, that quality of response. Strong referrals can be gotten through different means, though. The right way to ask for a customer referral is a genuine and natural way. And we can go into some of those details here in just a second. But think about that. When you ask for a referral, how clean is the response? Is it genuine, or is it just trying to get a few names on a piece of paper? It's important we know how to ask for that response. There's online tools that allow you to automatically follow up with customers, as we talked about a moment ago, whether it be website or email tracking. Exciting stuff coming down the road on that. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. After the transaction, say to them, just tell us what you think. We'd love to hear your review, whether it's your Facebook. I know a few of you guys connect with people through Facebook. You connect with your clients through Facebook. I won't name any names, but I'm very, very close with an individual who does this quite often. When he visits with clients, you on Facebook, Mrs. Jones? I am too. My name's David Lloyd. As I talked about, here's my Facebook page right here. Boom, I'm going to press my button here. My name's Chase Urich. Boom, here I'm going to request to be your friend. A lot of people do that. You're connecting with them outside of the sales process. So you're also advertising yourselves, and you're giving them the ability to review you and your business, which is why Erica Mercer talked a few months ago about, potentially having a separate Facebook page not tied to your personal Facebook page for marketing and sales purposes. Having a business Facebook page that coincides directly with your business LinkedIn page. It's a great way to have people on there. You have client photos, reviews, and when you do a good job, you can have people go on there and review you as an individual and as a business, and you can use that at a later date as a validator for you when you're visiting with other clients. Some people like to print off sales awards and put those in their presentations. Yep, this is me. This is what I did last year. Or here's my license. I'm licensed in the state of California or licensed in the state of Texas. Here's what I do. It's a validator. So if you have a great business Facebook page or a LinkedIn page, validator with some good reviews on there, it makes you look good. So talking about on this topic how to ask for referrals, the right way to ask is genuine and natural way, as we just talked about. When asking a person for over the phone, a lot of times that doesn't really happen. And what we do I'd say 90% of the time, a referral is generated face to face. We're doing our referral generation in person. What we're asking the customer or prospect is to think about is an individual who shares their business job characteristics and may be experiencing some or all of the indicators we just discussed with them. Is the need there that we just took care of for them? Do they know of any friends, family, or anybody in their inner circle that could help them? The way to ask it is in a genuine, heartfelt way instead of, here's a piece of paper with 60 lines on it. Could you just fill this out? I'd like to call them and make a sale. Have some emotion. Have some care with all in that conversation with them. Following up with a thank you is a real, real big point. When someone gives you a referral, they just gave you a free lead. So we want to give them a thank you. I know a lot of you on this call will send out birthday cards, an annual review, thank you, where today's the 1-year anniversary of you having the policy. I want you to know I appreciate your business. I'm here if you ever need anything. Those are great things, and it also works here as well. When someone gives you a referral and they open up and they get on a personal level with you outside of that actual sale that they completed with you, a thank you is important. Giving referrals is a very generous gesture, and you can assume that. Think about that. When you make a sales purchase, if they ask for someone, how often do you just, I just bought that new car. I'm not going to complete the survey and give 5 people that are probably looking for a new car, or I'm not going to complete this survey and give names out. I'm not going to pass referrals. A lot of us dismiss it in our own lives. We don't really pass names out and give referrals to other people. The application of should be unconditional. That is, thank them for the referral, not the sale. Thank them for the referral, not the sale. We can thank them for the sale also, but that can come at a separate time. You've already thanked them for doing business with you most likely at the home, and you're happy that you're able to get them taken care of. But sending a quick thank you, whether it's a note, whether it's an email if they tell you they have one, whatever it may be, a postcard, whatever, it should not be dependent upon whether the sale of the referral was successful or not. It's just a thank you for thinking of me, that I took good care of you to give me this opportunity to visit with somebody who's in your close inner circle. The worst thing you can do is get a referral and let it slip through the cracks. We want to treat that referral with value also as we kind of close this out here. If someone gives you a referral, contact them soon. I'm not saying right when you walk out of the house, but don't lose a great opportunity. But you could also lose respect to your customer or prospect that gives you that referral by not contacting that person in a fairly timely manner. There's a lot of times where we get a referral and the normal huss and fuss of a day gets beyond us, and we forget about that person. Don't do that, because if Betty Joe tells Bobby Sue that she told so-and-so to contact her and she doesn't hear from her and they're playing bingo 2 weeks later, well, he told me he was going to call you. You could hurt some feelings. So make a note, contact that person within a timely manner, so that your customer's like, oh, okay, he did contact you. Good. He's a sweetheart. He'll take good care of you. Make sure that rapport that you built with the client, and that client for life, that life is not lost just because we got too busy. I just wanted to touch on generating referrals, because right now, this time of the year, it's a great opportunity to be able to double up. And it's 12 months out of the year, to be honest with you. You do a lot of hard work and you put a lot of effort in, each and every one of you on this call, to generate referrals. To generate sales. And what a great opportunity that you have in front of yourself every time you make a sale, to be able to ask the question and earn additional business because you've developed that rapport with the client. It's something that's overlooked. It's an opportunity that is a lot of times just passed over because of how busy we get. You have time. Time is really all we have in this business, and utilizing it to maximize your productivity out in the field is important. Take one sale and turn it into 5 additional leads. It can be done if you ask the question. If you're clean with your presentation, you go from start to finish, they like you. They like to hear you talk and tell them about how you're going to take care of them, and then you come through and deliver for them. Ask for that. You've earned the right to ask for that business. And it's the worst thing that can happen is they just tell you, no, I don't have anybody. I can't think of anybody, or I don't feel comfortable giving anybody out. That's the worst thing that can happen. You've developed that client's trust and rapport already. Ask the question at the end of the conversation if you feel that you've done a good job and you have a good rapport with them. If it's been a rocky road and you don't know about it, I don't know, we got to get this one done. This guy swung a rake at me when I first tried to knock on the door. Whatever it may be, use your best judgment when you're sitting there and talking with the client.